at least it'll show it on YouTube.
Yeah.
So we're live on that live stream part of it.
Right now.
So, yeah.
For those part.
Okay, and then in terms of the rest of it, thank you for the times. And let me know if you can hear it okay. How's it?
Okay.
Is it okay, Sonny?
I'm not getting any audio.
Yeah, I'm not
Nothing in my
getting
ear.
really anything.
Are you?
It's weird.
No, not really.
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
How now?
I hear it now.
I still hear you. I'm number. Am I?
You're number one.
Oh, number. Oh, that is.
Yeah, your head's number one. Now I turn it
Okay.
up.
And I'm mic number 3.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I can
Mic
hear
3.
you. Yep.
Now is it okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Let me just keep speaking.
Yeah. How's this?
Yeah, it's faint. I hear it though. Yeah.
Is this better?
Yeah, it's a little bit better. Gain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seems awfully high compared to
I know.
usual. That's odd.
Yeah, but then when so that's the ear part, and then this will be the recording part.
Yeah. Okay. Ready to go?
Yes, sir. So let's figure this out. Okay, so I'm going to introduce Michael Morrongiello from Bay Area Wealth Builders. And how do you want to do this? You want to just come right in with some?
I could tell a little bit about what the AWB is
Yeah.
about and some of the sponsored workshop events that we have coming up that we'll hopefully revisit later.
Yeah,
But as far as, I'd like to talk a little bit about the market, as
Sure.
well, and the economy, because I have some slides on that. And I
I like
think that's
your
good
win
stuff.
deal a deal.
Yeah, that's good. I actually did this discussion the other night at Walnut Creek
Okay.
when it was triple-digit temperatures
Oh.
outside.
Times.
Yeah.
Oh, you did the presentation outside?
No, we did it on the second floor of a restaurant that had faulty air conditioning.
Brutal. Okay.
That is tough. And then the email question for you is, why is fix and flip not as big a part of your business as it was some years back? As I heard you mention that you're making more loans to homeowners.
Okay.
That's the question?
That could be the question.
Okay, all right. And if we need any, what did I think I printed something. Oh, I have a very good attorney joke unless you want to offend somebody.
That's okay, but, how about we let you,
We won't offend anybody? He's very easy target.
Yeah, of course.
Great. I love the content that you're going to cover.
Okay, all right, good. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I got a few.
Yeah, I won't go again, we're just reading it, but yeah, it's got some good stuff, yeah.
Okay. And each break, I've got like little announcements, and I've got our little trivia.
So you'll signal when we're getting close to the end of the segment?
Yeah, I'll signal when we have 1 minute.
About 1 minute to go,
And
to
then
wind
I'll
it down.
break to commercial.
Got it.
Okay. Ready?
Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome. You're listening to The Best of Investing. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Nam Fon of Pacific Private Money. Mark Fon is off today. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. Use that number to answer the trivia questions for a 5-pack tanning certificate given away during this show. Of course, the sun is getting out there, and you want to get that tan on before the tan so you don't get burned, right? And the certificate is not sponsored by the radio station, but by Tan Bella Tanning Salon with 2 locations in San Francisco and 1 in Marin. And you know what? I forgot to bring my energy drink, Go Girl.
You sound like you drank it
I
already.
did. I needed to
Vibrant.
drink it, yeah. So the thing I like about it, it's got no sugar and it's got
That's my energy drink.
That's right. It's got no sugar and no crash, and it's inexpensive, and you can get it at Safeway.
So is there caffeine in it? Is that what
There
it
is
is?
caffeine, yes,
Okay.
and it tastes good too. I like it. All right, so our special guest, our trivia theme today is general entertainment. And our special guest today is Michael Morrongiello from Bay Area Wealth Builders. Now, Nam, you and I have been to a couple of his events, and
Yeah.
they're always good. And there's usually, 120 people?
Yeah, quite a few people. It's in
Yeah.
Corte Madera, right?
Yeah, we meet in Corte Madera. We're now in our 18th year of meetings, and thanks for having me today,
Sure.
Nam and Edward. But yeah, they're good quality meetings, a lot of good discussion and information going on, all pretty much real estate related.
Typically, who, because, hundreds some odd people have been a few times and it's always been a pretty high number. Who typically goes, or who would you recommend come to these events?
Yeah, we have a wide variety of people coming to the events. We have people that are just starting out wanting to buy a home as their own personal residence. We have investors that are looking to get into an investment property. We have some serious heavy hitters that have done very well with their real estate investments over the years. And then we have a lot of times what we call people that are characterized as being enders, although that offends some of them when we call them enters. They prefer to be called spenders. But they've made a lot of money over the years, and they like to, support our economy and make loans and do things like that, and enjoy coming and rubbing elbows with other people of like-mindedness.
Well, I appreciate your the Bay Area Wealth Builders meetings because a lot of times you just have really good information. Could be about the new tax law. Could be just what's the latest real estate laws that are coming out.
And trends too.
And trends, yeah.
That's what I like.
Yeah, you've been a wealth of knowledge. I've really enjoyed listening to you specifically, but then also you've had some really good guests show up.
We have some interesting people over the years that have come out and have some really good programs coming up. I know that we'll touch on, but particularly on the tax law, the Trump tax plan, which we think is a boon for real estate people.
Really?
We just think it's going to be phenomenal, and so we're bringing in an attorney, a tax attorney, by the name of John Heyer, and he'll be doing an all-day event on the Trump tax plan and some of the questions that inevitably come up all the time about entities and what's proper bookkeeping procedures for the various entities and for the various types of business activity. People are buying and selling property, people are owning and renting property, people are dealing with just the wholesaling sometimes of property, and each of those has different tax events that take place, and perhaps you might want to use a different entity for that type of activity.
Yeah, it's funny when you mentioned about it being the tax law being a boom to real estate, and the first thing I think of is, well, wait a minute, they're limiting the amount of taxes that you can deduct, and then $750,000 for the interest. And I'm wondering, okay, so what am I missing? What's the big boom?
Well, I think the boom is from the investment standpoint. People that have a business, that run a business that's real estate related, whether it's buying and selling or wholesaling property, that's where you're going to get a lot of benefits. You're right, there are some curtailments under the so-called SALT passage that took place, eliminating this and limiting the state and local taxes, and that may have a long-term effect on high-cost areas like California. Until we get the supply-demand balance that exists back in line. But for the most part, if you're active in the business of buying and selling property and wholesaling property, there's some real strong different techniques you could use with pass-through benefits. Obviously, I think you're going to see more and more people incorporate or form entities as a result of the tax advantages that are going to come about.
Okay, and we're going to get into this more, but right away, if people are interested in coming to any of your events, how do they? Well,
we've been meeting for the third Thursday night. You don't even really need to use the calendar, but the third Thursday night of every month, we meet in Corte Madera, currently at the Best Western Corte Madera Inn, right there off Highway 101 at the Madera Boulevard exit. Very easy to get to.
Yeah, it's right across the street from Town Center.
Town Center, and then if they want more information, they can always go to our website. We always post the meetings that are coming up and some of the workshop events, and that's www.bawb.info. Again, that's www.bawb.info.
And do you have a meetup group page as well?
We do have a meetup page, yeah. Okay. We have a meetup page as well where people can find us on Meetup also.
All right. Great. All right, guys, we're going to cut to our first commercial break, and here is the first trivia question. What legendary rock band had a drummer named Bonzo? Okay, if you know the answer to that question, call 888-912-1190. Be the first caller with the correct answer. You're going to win that free tanning certificate. Also want to make a quick mention here for Father's Day. What a gift that you can give the Hornblower Dining Cruise. Feast on an elaborate buffet with bottomless beer and mimosas on the Beer Brunch Cruise, or get dapper with Dad on a 4-course seated dinner. Spend quality time as you cruise under the Golden Gate and around Alcatraz while listening to live entertainment. Visit hornblower.com to book your cruise today. And don't touch that dial. The Best of Investing will be right back. Cool.
Very good.
Good, yeah.
First segment.
There you go. All right.
I didn't click on my timer.
Yeah, but it's funny because this is not accurate.
Oh, really?
Yours, it is. I don't know why. Different program.
Let's see. BO.
Where's Mark?
And he is at home. He's got
The workers or something?
Yeah. At least it was just here. Oh yeah, choose here while you're here. So,
How long have you guys been in this location?
2 years and 2 months.
Oh. Yeah, I was up here, was it Saturday for the Art and Wine Festival?
Oh,
Yeah, it was packed.
It was. That was packed. I was passing through and I was this close to getting at one of those giant turkey drumsticks.
Oh,
It
that
would
was
have been the
great.
first time ever.
You never had one?
No, because it just seemed like it's just like a
You had that car, that,
yeah.
Yeah,
Cave
they-
in.
Oh,
Do you remember the Renaissance Fair?
Yeah.
I do, yeah. You're
Yeah.
still there, over there by the golf course.
I don't think they
That
do
was
it anymore though.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good.
no, you gotta get one of those. It gives you a little heartburn though, because it's, like they almost taste like candy.
Yeah.
But one thing we have to be careful, because these mics are sensitive, if we accidentally
Oh.
hit, and I gotta watch myself
Okay.
on that too.
So
That's good.
I got a like a tri-tip sandwich
That's probably pretty good too.
instead of
Are
a
you
giant.
a big tri-tip fan?
I love tri-tip.
Have you ever seen the tri-tip trolley? They're a
No.
food truck, they're opening a brick and mortar location now on Highway 12, right across from the what used to be the Kenwood Inn.
Okay.
Right there, right, Landmark Vineyard and
Mhm.
Francis, so St. Francis, they're actually opening a restaurant there. It's
Ooh.
gonna be called, I don't know if they're calling it tri-trip trolley, but tri-trip
Yeah.
station or something
Okay.
like that.
Because
That
Kenwood
sounds great.
burned down, didn't it?
They sold the restaurant and then a guy came in, tried to make a go of it with upscale dining. It didn't work there. And now a new owner, it's called, I think, Salt and Stone now.
Oh, okay, so that didn't burn down.
It didn't burn
There was
down.
Something burned
Yeah.
down in Kenwood.
A lot of things burned in Kenwood as well with the
Yeah,
fires.
yeah.
Yeah, not the restaurant. Yeah.
That's what it is, okay.
Okay,
Alright.
next segment is 828,
Well,
right?
this is a long one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and let's see. How do we intro into when's the deal a deal?
Well, we can do that now or the next segment, but you want to talk a little bit of the market at all? Or,
Yeah.
Some of the observations, or
Yeah,
the economy.
what's your observation? Okay.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Nam Phan of Pacific Private Money. Our first trivia question was, what legendary rock band had a drummer named Bonzo? Who knows the answer to that?
I'll weigh in.
Please.
I think, is it Led Zeppelin?
It is Led Zeppelin.
Awesome.
Very good.
I know my rock history.
Very good. Mike Morrongiello, our guest, he's 1 for 1 in the trivia.
My brother plays for a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, so
Does it?
Who
Yeah.
do you play for?
Marty Ballin with the Jefferson Airplane.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, see, now he just aged himself. Jefferson Airplane. Did they change from
And
Jefferson
Starship.
Airplane
Yeah.
to Jefferson Starship and then just the Starship?
Well, both you guys are music trivia buffs then.
Well, I'm
right?
sure, and my
So-
my son actually learned to play drums from Michael Carabello from Santana.
There you go.
And
Wow.
that's why he still
Yeah.
continues to play drums.
That's awesome.
Very good. So Michael Morrongiello from Bay Area Wealth Builders is with us, and he's a wealth of knowledge of real estate. Why don't you tell us what's going on, what your vision of what you see going on in the real estate market?
Well, I think you're asking about the market, and it is a very, very interesting market that we're in right now, particularly in the North Bay region of the Bay Area because of the aftermath of the firestorms.
Right.
I think what was already a very tight inventory market has been exacerbated by that terrible, horrific event that took place back in October last year. So we have a very distinct imbalance that's going on, with supply and demand that I think is driving prices higher. And of course, the unknowns that are again coming into play are that there are some headwinds that I think we need to have some concern about. And I'm sure those of you that watched the financial news knew that the Fed met yesterday, I believe it was, and announced the rates going up again, and that they anticipate there may be as many as 3 more increases this year.
Yeah.
So the question is whether that's going to throttle back people's purchasing powers, which inevitably it will to some extent, and change the dynamics of the market. But also the big elephant in the room is the debt that that has been taken on by our U.S. government, where I think I heard a statistic this past week about how we are in the last 10 years gone from 49% of GDP to almost 75% of GDP
Wow.
is what our national debt is. And in the next 10 years, it is anticipated that we will be at a 100% of GDP. Do you know when the last time that ever happened was?
World War
Never.
II.
Very good guess. But actually, yeah, World War II was the time. Yeah, it was World War II. So that's just not sustainable, and that's something that I think all of us need to be somewhat concerned about, and how that might affect our overall economy. But otherwise, the economy is on fire right now. We like the kid that it's on fuego, and it is. I mean, things are really going well for this time.
You know, the interesting thing about the from the fires standpoint, you know, a lot of people say, well, you know, a lot of people are just going to move. They're not going to rebuild, but they're still going to sell to somebody who will rebuild.
Right.
So
yeah, I just went to a couple of meetings. One was in Petaluma. There was an appraiser there who talked about the activity in Coffee Park and then the activity in Fountain Grove, and how the difference between the two and the cost to build there right now and the cost of the lots. And in Coffee Park, sales are sort of trending upwards. But right now, one of the biggest issues was that 66% of the claims have not been settled yet, the insurance companies. In the meantime, there's lots that are being sold. People are just leaving. And I drove through there last week, and there's rebuilding going on. But I think it's going to take a while still. So I have a question for you. You know, in terms of opportunities for real estate investors versus opportunities for people looking to buy for personal residence. I mean, I think there's a difference.
Oh, big difference, yes.
So if you're an investor looking at Coffee Park, how would you approach that? And what would you say to an investor?
Well, I'm not a big fan on building new construction because it takes a lot longer, and there's a lot more red tape and bureaucratic oversight involved.
But with the Santa Rosa, with the Coffee Park as an example, if I understand it correctly, they're pretty streamlining that for if you build exactly like what was in there in the footprint, right?
Yes, so they say.
So they say.
I don't know how accurate that is.
That's a very good point.
That may not be reality.
I wonder if somebody sells their lot, do those rights to build exactly the previous footprint?
I would think so, because you know, it's as long as you're building pretty much the same house, shouldn't matter who owns it. But you said there are already sticks being built, right?
Oh, right.
So they are. Yeah. So somebody's getting through.
Yeah. Right. But the thing with building today, though, this is, I think, what a lot of people are realizing, unfortunately, that were affected by those fires, is that cost of construction is way up because everyone's busy now.
Right.
The materials are way up as well because of the fact that there's demand for those materials. And so you got labor cost up, material cost up, and then on top of that, you have, of course, the government interference, you know, with the cost to rebuild and the impact fees, although they are trying to streamline it, that's true. So, you know, that's going to have some effect. You are seeing people that are just going to sell their lots and probably either purchase something else. And that's putting pressure on, again, the market that we're in right now.
The interesting thing is, you know, we talked about this before, that this, you know, you never want anything bad like this to happen, but it did happen. So Pacific Private Money actually will probably benefit from this, because there are going to be a lot of people who won't get enough money from insurance. Either they were underinsured, or again, like you said, the costs have gone up.
Code requirements as well.
Exactly. Yeah. And some people's insurance policy has that, some don't. And those people may not have the extra money, or they may not qualify for a loan, because, you know, individually people have different credit scores, right? So what are those people going to do? Yeah. You know, so Pacific Private Money might be able to provide them a loan.
Yeah, we're seeing that. We haven't seen so many from the actual borrower who's intending to occupy. We're getting loan requests from builders who need the funds to be able to start their projects, or they have multiple projects going on. So I'm sure we'll start seeing it from the borrowers as they settle and realize that there's a gap between what they settled for and what it's going to take.
Absolutely. And does Pacific do construction financing? Oh, so there you go. There's going to be a definite need for that.
Yeah, and you're going to make the borrower use his money first.
Right.
In most cases, yeah. Right. So it keeps from a risk standpoint. Right. Pacific Private Money will be in a very conservative position.
Yeah. So we typically cap at 70% loan to value. You know, it'll be interesting to see what the gap is as these borrowers claims to settle. And to your point, same thing. The appraiser said, you know, the natural resources or the raw materials, we're competing with Southern California.
Right.
We're competing with Houston.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we get
that's
one
right.
out there. So
And new construction that's going on in general to meet the housing needs that are existing.
yeah.
So it really is having a big effect. But, the economy, as I mentioned, is a little bit, I call it a plow horse economy, not a racehorse economy. We're just plodding along, it seems, for the time being, and, no dramatic spikes that look like they're gonna be ahead.
Which I think is
It's good. It's very healthy, yeah, it's very predictable.
All right, we're going to cut to our second commercial break here. Trivia question. What was the name of Tom Cruise's fighter pilot character in the movie Top Gun? All right, that's our trivia question. Call 888-912-1190. If you're the first caller who wrote the correct answer, you're going to win that tanning certificate, which is worth over $100. It's a good prize. What was the nickname of Tom Cruise's fighter pilot character in the movie Top Gun? Don't touch that dial. The best of investing will be right back. Right on the money, huh?
Did you see this? We posted this on our Facebook page on these others article about what it costs now to buy a middle-class home in San Francisco. What you must earn.
300,000.
$330,000 a year. And only 12% of households in the city can afford to buy a medium-price home right now in San
So that's a
Francisco.
good statistic to figure out. That's a good one to mention on there, yeah. Let me see what this says. A man who was having what the doctor received an option. That's a doctor in the heart transplant. But man, that's something hurts. I do have 3 hearts. The first one, 18-year-old kid, fun swimmer. His had 100,000. Second from a marathon runner, 25, great condition, 100,000. This from a heavy drinker, started smoking, 500,000. Hey, what's so expensive? You lived a terrible life. It's from a lawyer serving you. There you go. I like that.
It's a good one.
It's a good one.
It's a good one.
Who's going to tell it?
Why? I'll let
Michael?
You want me to do that?
Yeah.
Okay,
We'll see if we have time.
We'll give a little PC disclaimer that easy target.
Let's see. Why don't we shoot into the cost of 300,000?
Yeah, we can talk about that, and, yeah, of
Get
course.
an email for you.
Okay,
Yeah, absolutely.
great.
What is the time of the segment?
This one is 8:10.
Oh, this is a good long one, too. Okay.
Okay, ready?
Yes. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the best of investing. One more time, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Nam Phan of Pacific Private Money. What was the nickname of Tom Cruise's fighter pilot character in the movie Top Gun? Anyone?
No, you go for that one.
Maverick.
Maverick. That is correct.
The sequel's coming up, isn't it?
Oh, you know what? I think
there's another
Is
is.
there one? No, okay.
And
That was a good film.
Cruise. Yeah, it was. But they're going to call it Top Shelf. No, I'm just kidding. Well, like a quick mention here also for the Renaissance Indian Wells Resort and Spa. It's a desert oasis for a family getaway in the Coachella Valley. It's the perfect place to recharge and relax poolside in our sandy beach area or send the kids off for a fun day at Camp Oasis. The world-class resort features well-appointed guest rooms, 5 restaurants, and a rejuvenating spa. Plus, book your summer family getaway today and your kids eat free. That's a good one. You can be my kid and I can get you to eat free.
Yeah, I'll have to get a fake ID.
Yeah. Visit Ren Indian Wells, that's REN, IndianWells.com for details, or call 760-773-4444. So, Michael, continue on because you had some information about San Francisco I thought was kind of cool.
Well, that's a rather sobering statistic, but there was a recent article actually in the Chronicle that talked about the household income required to buy a typical home in San Francisco is now about $330,000.
$330,000. Do you know how many hours I have to work to make $300,000? How many weeks I have to work?
Yeah. And according to the article, only 12% of the households in the city can afford to buy a medium price home. The high cost of living is now forcing a lot of even tech companies to take a second look and other employers about what they're doing with regards to their employees and people living in the city. And there was a kind of an interesting joke by a Mike Rosenberg. He used to be a writer for the Mercury News. He moved up to Seattle. He left San Francisco. And he said he had some free advice for millennials. Do you want to hear the advice?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
He says you need to avoid eating 33,600 orders of avocado toast to generate and save the $330,000 that you need.
I don't
Maybe
get the
it's
avocado toast though.
Oh,
I haven't
okay.
yet to try it.
I mean, it's
It's like
avocado.
$20 for avocado toast in
No.
the city.
It's very pretty costly.
Yeah.
I mean, avocado.
About
yeah.
$12 to $15, I think, or something.
Is that right?
For an order.
We can have an avocado toast stand in the city. I'll do that with my daughter.
Yeah.
Instead of lemonade.
Well, that's the thing is avocados could be, $2.50 an avocado.
But when you toast it,
When you toast it and then you jack up the price on that, that's crazy.
that's crazy though. Because you think with the tech sector being as strong as it is, that a lot of these engineers, maybe there's just aren't as many engineers in the city as you think, or whatever. But the salaries that these guys are getting paid, and women are getting paid, is pretty high. So double income.
They're getting paid good money, but it's being siphoned off by the high cost of living.
Just living,
You
yeah.
pay rent, and rent still, yes.
Insane.
Yeah.
No, I want to jump over to an email question we received for you, which was, why is fix and flip not as big a part of your business as it was some years back, as I have heard you mention that you're making more loans to homeowners?
Yeah, that's a good question. It is still a sizable part of our portfolio. We just found also an opportunity on the, consumer owner-occupied private lending. A lot of our business, a lot of the borrowers, first of all, a lot of these come from banks. These are just borrowers who, when you think of hard money and you think, why would somebody come to hard money? We get that reputation that the borrower is probably somebody who just can't get a bank loan because they're, really poor credit.
Or on the doorsteps of bankruptcy.
Right. But that's just not the case in many circumstances. And oftentimes those scenarios come to us from banks or realtors where the borrowers just run out of time. And most private lenders won't do what's called consumer owner-occupied loans just because there's much more disclosure requirements, different regulations, more regulations than like a fix and flip or business purpose loan.
Well, I'll tell you one that one of your colleagues told me just recently, where the person was buying a house for about $800,000, was coming up with $600,000, and couldn't get a $200,000 loan because she lived half of her years in. First of all, she was a Russian green card holder and lived half the year in Australia. So it was difficult for the bank to wrap their arms around, what does this person really do and make and all that. And so they wouldn't lend her $200,000.
Yeah, so it's an area, I would say it's a niche that we play in. And we'll talk about a deal of the week later that I think has a lot of relevance for Bay Area wealth builders, because there's an Airbnb component to it. But also, the fix and flip space is competitive too. So if you're a fix and flip borrower, then you can get pretty good rates these days, because there's a lot of investment chasing those fix and flip.
And it's interesting because the squeeze on the profits, this is in 2011, where people were just being able to buy super cheap and then do a little bit of rehab and flip it.
Well, the economy, I think, still has some room to run. I think Warren Buffett was quoted as saying recently that we're in the 6th inning of a 9-inning game. So if you believe Warren Buffett, then things should run on for a little while longer. But yeah, it's very competitive.
Yeah, but fix and flip still has a lot of runway too, I think, because we were at a conference about a month and a half ago where on the panel they talked about the 60 million or so boomers out there who live in homes that have not been updated for decades. And these folks are either going to downsize or maybe pass it on to their children. But there's going to be a lot of opportunities still where homes just need updating. And that inventory is, consistently going to be hitting the market going forward. So
I think Home Depot is going to really like that.
Right.
That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they've done very well in the last few years anyway.
Yeah, so we still play in the fix and flip space, but in the meantime too, there's just a lot of opportunity on the owner-occupied consumer side.
Okay. So. And Michael, you have, when are some of your seminars coming up?
We have a couple of interesting classes coming up. They're really great events to get to mingle with other like-minded people. And the tax class I mentioned is Saturday, June 23rd. That's coming up very soon. And then we have a class coming up on paper, learning about creative paper financing techniques with a gentleman by the name of Peter Fortunato. and myself teaching that class. That'll be Saturday, July 21st, excuse me. And then October, we have a class called Pitfalls and Opportunities in Today's Marketplace with both John Schaub and Peter Fortunato.
And if they go on to bawb.info, they can get more information on that, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Very good. Okay, we're going to cut to another commercial break. It goes fast, I'll tell you. What holiday is celebrated with an aluminum pole, the airing of grievances, and feats of strength? Call 888-912-1190. If you're the first caller with the correct answer, you win that tanning certificate. All right? That's our trivia question. Don't touch that dial. When we come back, Non-Fawn's going to have Deal of the Week.
Aluminum pole.
An aluminum, something Swedish? I don't know. I don't have any clue.
We always have to stump you
Uh-huh.
once or twice.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't make those meetings. That's my daughter's flying in.
Oh, really?
And I got the whole week. It's her 21st birthday.
Oh, how cool.
So, yeah, every day we're gonna plan something.
Where's she flying in from?
She goes to Tulane University.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
My daughter just got back today from Singapore.
Oh, wow.
She was at the summit.
So,
really?
She involved in?
Yeah, she works for the Washington Examiner. She's a
Oh,
White
good.
House correspondent.
Wow.
So she flew there, took a 30-hour flight there, and then was there. She was actually on air a couple of times from there, right after the meeting took place, the summit meeting.
So there's the Washington Post, which is liberal. There's the Washington Times, which is conservative.
Yeah.
Washington
Examiner is sort of in between, more moderate, but maybe a little bit more conservative fiscally. Yeah.
My childhood friend is the brewmaster for a brewery in Singapore, and their beer was the beer served at the summit.
Really?
Oh, how cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it good beer?
I think so.
Yeah.
He was into beer since we were in middle school.
He's a brewmaster.
He's a brewmaster, just got moved there from Barcelona. He's a
Interesting.
brewmaster out of that one in Barcelona too. Local guy.
By the way, they just opened a new brewery in Napa. It's a San Diego company that has national distribution. They restored this historic building on Sosco for over $1 million restoration.
Wow.
And there's no parking for this building. And they have a restaurant and a beer place there now.
Where is it on Sosco?
It's right there at like First and Sosco.
Okay.
Right, it's
Right near
on
the
the
river.
river. Right on the river. It's an
Okay.
old building called the Boreal Building, it used to be called.
Okay.
So I'm actually going to be in Napa on
Yeah.
Saturday
Yeah.
on North Newport. Do you know that?
North Newport. No, I don't know where that is.
A friend of mine, his house burned down, and so he bought
Okay.
this new one. Apparently, it's really cool. It's on the
Oh.
water. It's got
Okay.
coat docks. And
Okay.
all kinds
Well,
of
I'll ask you when we're done. I can ask you about it, because I didn't realize you guys are doing a lot more consumer lending.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're one of the few who
But
can
you
actually.
still have DTI issues and stuff, right?
Yeah,
We
we
have
have.
special projects so that.
Yeah, we have more flexibility on DTI.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And income.
Yeah, we're one of the few private lenders who do owner-occupied consumer.
I think there's just a burgeoning opportunity there, yeah.
There is.
Because common sense has gone out the window still.
Yeah.
Well, I say more regulation.
Yeah. I don't agree with that.
I just-
Self-serving statement,
Yeah,
but
Yeah,
yeah.
this one's 917.
Yeah, in fact, I teased Mark
Uh-huh.
a little bit. I done that on the air. I said, Mark, I think you're the one who's been behind more of this regulation, haven't you?
Yeah, the lobbyist.
Well, obvious, exactly. All right, ready?
Yes. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, along with Nam Fawn. Here is our third trivia question. What holiday is celebrated with an aluminum pole, the airing of grievances, and feats of strength?
I am completely blank on that one.
You ready for this one? Festivus, for the rest of us. You remember from Seinfeld?
Yeah.
So I had to keep from laughing when I was reading the question, because if you go back to the Seinfeld episode with that, you'll remember. Okay, Noam, give us a deal of the week.
Deal of the week. So we just closed deal. Many components. So there's an out-of-country component, Airbnb components, cross-collateralization. So we had a couple who live in Australia who approached us about a month and a half ago. Moving back to the States, they own rental properties. that they converted to Airbnb, and they wanted to use those as collateral, and they also wanted to use the income from that to purchase another property in the North Bay that they were going to convert a B&B to a primary residence. Challenges. One is they have a foreign income that it wasn't filed here. So when they went to a bank, the bank said, you don't qualify in income. Well, how about my Airbnb income? Well, it's too recent. It doesn't show on tax returns, which boosted their rental income over the previous, income they were getting when they had long-term renters in there.
Yeah.
So they came to us. We were able to cross-collateralize a home that they had for rent in Oakland. They had plenty of equity in it, and we looked at their income and said, translating, it's going to qualify. We made them. So we crossed the property in Oakland. Looked at their Airbnb income without the tax returns, and through that combination, made them a loan for $1.15 million.
Yeah, I guess in some cases, like if somebody has started the process, let's say in November, they might only have 2 months worth of income.
Right.
Right. So things haven't shown enough, and yet if they're experienced enough in Airbnb, which assuming is not going to go away.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's something you have to take into consideration. But at this point, I think trains left the station. Airbnb
there's rumor that Fannie Mae may start. There's discussion on them accepting Airbnb income soon. I guess.
Really?
I don't know if it's taken place yet.
Do you talk about that at your Bay Area Wealth Builders events?
Not really. You mean about owning Airbnb?
Yeah.
Operating properties? We don't. I know a lot of people are getting into it because it does ramp up the income or the potential. And then, of course, some of the municipalities are frowning on it too.
Right.
Because it's taking housing stock out of the housing inventory that people really need in this area.
Yeah. For us, though, it's a bridge loan. So, if this were a 30-year loan and we were banking on Airbnb income being there forever or for a long time, you probably have some hesitation.
Yeah.
But the fact is they're going to be moving back to the States. They'll have U.S. income, and their plan is to refinance out of our loan probably in 6 months.
Yes, they have an exit strategy.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing too about like the Airbnb is some of the hotels, they're against it, not only in competition, but the fact is that hotels have to pay that transient tax, and Airbnb people basically have not had to pay a tax.
Yeah.
And then you have all the neighbors who complain about, these new people come in every time and, parties and taking up the parking and all that. And, you can kind of see both sides to it because, if I own my house, I'd like to kind of do what I want.
Right.
But yet, you have to be kind of considerate of the neighbors. Too.
Right. So here's my question if there's any hotel executives out there. How come hotels don't get into the Airbnb space? What's to stop a hotel from approaching a homeowner and saying, listen, rent out your house under our flag. We'll list your inventory on our hotel.
I think they actually do. I think some hotels actually do that. Maybe not like a Marriott. Well, I don't know. Even Marriott may.
Condo hotels exist. People invest in a room, which is a pseudo condominium hotel, and then they rent it and operate it for transient.
Yeah, I think part of it is from the standpoint of how are they going to manage? Like when you have a hotel that's got 300 rooms, the quality control is there.
Well, how does Airbnb control the quality of their?
Well, they kind of a.
They have reviews from consumers.
No reason why.
Because Airbnb is just a conduit, right? I mean, they themselves don't own the house.
Right.
They basically say, listen, it's buyer beware, renter beware.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a little different than someone under a flag because I've known hotels that have lost their flag, as they call it the flag.
Right.
Like a Holiday Inn or whatever, because it just wasn't up to the standards.
Yeah. I think so. They'll figure that. I think at some point they'll figure that out, and they'll be able to provide a similar type of service.
Now, if you lose a Motel 6 flag, you're in trouble. It's like going to a restaurant and says, "Sorry, we're open." All right. What else do we want to talk about, boys?
We have a fund event coming up.
Oh, that's right.
So the Pacific Private Money Fund, it is in its 5th year this month. Actually, it started 5 years ago, 2013. We're over 40 million, over 42 million, I think. Have 165, 170 investors.
No losses.
No losses. Key. And our next event is in Walnut Creek on Tuesday, the 19th. It's at Momo's from 6 to 8 p.m. Momo's Restaurant, great place to have it.
That's a cool venue.
Yeah, so call us, 415-883-2150 if you'd like to register and attend. There's still room, or go to our website, which is www.pacificprivatemoney.com.
How many attendees do you have so far?
We have about 20 or so.
Okay, and you have room for 30? Or
probably 30.
30?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you RSVP'd, come. Show up.
Yeah, don't be a no-show.
Yeah, don't be a no-show.
Well, the reason you do it, take it on the road is because, trying to have all the events at your office in Novato, it's kind of tough. Like, come 6 p.m. from San Francisco to Novato. Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
And the last one we had a great number of reservations, but it was the same night as game one of the Cavs Warriors.
Yeah.
So we had some
But
no-shows.
you had a couple of people come from pretty far away, though.
Yeah, we had a gentleman come from San Jose.
Some guy came from San Jose all the way to Nevada. I guess partly he wanted to make sure the office was really here, that we didn't running out of a station wagon.
I really respect that. He's doing his due diligence.
Yeah.
I really like it when people ask the hard questions, because
Absolutely.
One of the things that if somebody doesn't ask any questions, run, because we want people to know what they're investing in.
Yeah.
And this gentleman is really doing his homework, including driving 2 hours to our office to meet everyone. So I
At
like
least
that.
you passed the test enough for him to even want to go in his car to drive that far.
Oh yeah. And we talked along the way. On his way here, he was asking questions, so that was great.
Is he still doing more due diligence?
Yes, I think he is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
It's interesting. I talked to a banker not too long ago who I made a little pitch for you guys at a broker's meeting. Usually I talk about the deals that can be done. This time I decided to mention, oh, by the way, there's a fund and you can earn, roughly 7.5% and yada, yada. And I actually had one of the bankers come up to me and say, I am very interested in investing in the fund. So
cool.
we have people who you ordinarily wouldn't think would invest.
Yeah.
But they look at it and they go, yeah. I mean, like even here, you wouldn't think that we would get the Pacific Private Money would get referrals from banks because you go, ooh, they're competition, but not really.
right.
You go to the bank first. Obviously, they have a better rate. But if they can't, the bank looks like a hero by turning them on to you.
Yeah, that's actually our number one referral source.
That's
Our
interesting,
banks, and they get the refinance opportunity.
That's right.
And they help by referring them to us. We help save the deal. Borrower's happy because they get into the property, and then there's no prepay penalty on our bridge loan. So we
So again,
can
how do people get a hold of you?
They can call us at 415-883-2150, or go to our website, www.pacificprivatemoney.com, and you can apply on our website
Very
for.
good. All right, don't touch that dial. The best in investing. We'll be right back with some closing comments. We only got three questions. Okay, so we have 5 minutes to go.
Yep.
And I just need like the last 90 seconds.
Mhm.
So what do you want to cover in 3.5 minutes?
Do you have more stuff to cover on the market?
What I could do, I'd like to leave a couple of little quote gems, I think,
Yeah.
maybe about when
Yeah.
you're trying, people are always asking, how do I find a good deal?
Yeah.
And,
Oh, that's good.
and I think there's some good insight on that. Just a couple of comments.
Sure.
And about that, good deals aren't found, opportunities are found. And then you have to learn how to work with those opportunities
Okay.
to structure a good transaction.
And
Very
then
good.
your website again.
Yeah, we'll give our website, maybe I'll give my phone number for our group too. We have a phone number too.
Oh, great.
For the workshops, yeah.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the best of investing. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Nam Phan of Pacific Private Money. Didn't have a trivia question, but Mike, how do real estate investors find a good deal?
That's a common question we get asked all the time. Call me when you find a good deal. Or call me when you have a good deal. And we like to state and teach really at our meetings that good deals are not found, but opportunities are found. or exist in the marketplace and will find you. And it's your job to be able to work a transaction with that particular property seller so that people on both sides benefit.
So you're not just doing those seminars of no money down, how everyone can buy a house and we're in for $30,000, yada, yada.
I don't think we've had those seminars, but I will share with you a couple of, I think, good quotes that your audience might like. One is from an old exchanger by the name of Warren Harding, who used to say that opportunities are born out of the uncomfortable circumstances of ownership.
Now, is that the same, is that President Warren Harding?
No, that's not the president. He did have the same name. He was a very, very interesting real estate exchanger at CCIM.
Gotcha.
And I have a good friend of mine who's an investor that for many years says that if you listen to people, they'll tell you their problems. But if you listen to them long enough, they'll tell you how to solve them as well. And it's very true. When you're talking to people and they're trying to divest themselves of a property for whatever reasons,
right,
whether it's financial or the property itself or something emotional, you really want to get to know them and why they're looking to sell or need to sell. It's very, very important.
That's good. So there's opportunities out there.
There's plenty of opportunities. That's what as I said, people are claiming that, there's no deals, there's no opportunities. Right. They're all around. They're all around us. They're even in the market that we're in right now, which is a very frothy market, but there's still wonderful opportunities for people to find or have them find themselves and work them.
Yeah, Mark's also said that, you can always make money in real estate, whether the market's going up or down. You just have to find the right deal.
Right. I mean, we get so many scenarios where we go, wow, that's a great opportunity that this person came upon, and they're needing the capital to realize it. Yeah. But in our business, no deal is the same.
Yeah. And one thing I will tell you that is we're finding a lot, because a lot of sellers are putting properties out there sometimes at high prices, and they sit, they don't sell. But we always try to preach at our events that a seller may establish a price for a property, but really who establishes the value?
The buyer.
It's the buyer. Yeah. But buyer or buyers are the ones that are going to establish value, regardless of what the price may be that the seller's asking.
Gotcha. That's great. Again, if people want to come to any of your events, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, they can come to our website for the Bay Area Wealth Builders, which is www.bawb.info. Again, that's www.bawb.info. Or they can call our information line, which is 707-996-6411. I'll repeat it again, 707-996-6411.
Very good. And Nam, if people want to either invest in your fund, which by the way, if they don't qualify for the fund, you have another website.
Yeah. So we haven't mentioned that yet. It's privatemoneyloans.com. That's where we're selling either loans that we recently funded and are looking to create more liquidity so we can fund their next deals, or they may be live loans or live fundings, ones where just came across our desk, we've greenlighted it, and now we're looking for the investor. If sometimes our fund is fully at capacity, so we don't have the capital, so we'll put it out there to individual trustee investors.
Very good. All right, guys, thanks again for joining us, Michael Morrongiello and Nam Phan, of course. Thoughts for the day: one should never take the easy road, but rather the right road, no matter how long the travel. And the trouble with not having a goal is that you can spend your life running up and down the field and never score. You like that?
Good one.
All right. Tune in next week to The Best of Investing. Why? Because we're going to be giving away more free prizes for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown. We're wishing you the best of investing. So long. Good. Literally felt full of the time. Good. Very good.
Do you have a card?
I do, yeah. Let me dig one out for you. Again, that's my contact. Even I don't have one, but yeah, that's good to know that you're doing the consumer stuff, because that's I think a huge opportunity right now.
Yeah, we get a lot of mortgage brokers calling us.
Thank you, sir.
They're also ready to do a loan for their borrower, and then suddenly
you're not doing seconds though, right?
Yeah, no,
are you doing seconds? Oh, okay.
We've been doing a third, I think.
We have 1/3 in our fund.
But you won't do a what I guess some people call a backfill second, where they're borrowing from You're right. I mean, so many of these lenders that are doing the fix and flip loans are just one-upping one another. We're seeing rates now at 6.99, and they'll fund 90% of acquisition and sometimes even 100% of the renovation money too on a draw basis. So
that's scary.
it's just there's a lot of money that people are trying to put out, and some of them it's backed by Wall Street funding, some of them.
Yeah.
So they're really doing that kind of. Well, yeah, I agree. If the market turns, it's gonna create opportunity.
Yeah.
But
you have. I mean, even if the market doesn't turn, if your numbers are off a little bit,
if your numbers are off, and that's the problem is some are working on razor thin margins.
Yes, exactly.
Just a tight little hiccup in the market,
or time, right? Time works against you when you pay interest.
Yeah.
I mean, we've spent the money on the regulations and the continuing ed and the software and all this stuff. A lot of private lending companies just say we don't want to get involved in consumer. It's too risky from a regulation standpoint. But we've done the homework and spent the time.
Yeah, I think it's a big niche. I really do. I mean, there's a lot of people who can't verify fully or document their income.
Right.
They have good credit, pay their bills, and they feel that they fit into that that situation.
And the biggest ones from the banks or realtors is. Especially in the seller's market.
Yeah.
Sellers know that if they price it right, they're going to get multiple offers and be in escrow within a week.
Right.
But their hesitation of putting their home on the market is where they're going to move to.
Right.
Because they're going to be going against the same circumstances.
Yeah, they're going to buy into a frenzied market as well. Yeah. Sure.
So what we do is we can cross collateralize. We can do a bridge loan and provide the funds for the purchase.
Right.
And take a.
Is that a line of credit or is it just outright loan?
Okay. Yeah. And so we funded up to over 100% of the purchase because they had enough combined equity.
And then they can go pull the trigger for cash on another property.
Yeah.
If they can ease that transition.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. We had one in January. That's a family that was going to list their Tiburon home in June for 2.1, but a home 5 streets down. Or 5 homes down, just oriented different in Tiburon, so their view was completely different. The city versus up Marin. Went on the market in January for 2.6. We're like, there's no way we're going to be able to list our home, or we can't afford 2 mortgages, and they just had a child, so they didn't want to move.
Right. That's tough. Yeah.
We gave them a loan. They probably put their home on the market before June, but that we gave them a bridge loan. And
they had a lot of equity, obviously.
They had a lot of equity. Our loan was $2 million, so we had at least put down 600 or combination. So very common.
Yeah.
So
we're closing. We're bringing one on the market, a renovated project this week, actually, 4 blocks from the plaza in Sonoma. That's going to come on just under $3 million, which is shocking to me that that's what they're bringing. So
wow.
And then we just went into escrow on one on Spain Street which we will probably bring to the market in November at $1.8 million.
That's also.
Yeah.
Are you identifying these opportunities on your own, or do you have a team out there?
Well, I work with a lot of bird dogs and finders, but we market directly to sellers.
Oh yeah. Okay.
We do get some agents that call us, but a lot of our deals are coming from direct marketing that we're doing. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
We're trying to buy, because many sellers don't realize what their homes are worth necessarily. Some do. Some are greedy, of course. Yeah. But like the guy that we had speak at our meeting last month, he says, he'd been working with this woman for a year on a house in Palo Alto, and she goes, you do know that I want $1.5 million for my home? And he said, yes, I know that. And he knew that house was worth $2 million, and she didn't know that. Yeah. And he bought it, and he sold it a week later for $2 million. Wow. To somebody else. So, I mean, that's why you need to know your values.
Yeah. When you go to these sellers, you're paying all.
It's typically a cash offer. Yeah. Although sometimes there's wrinkles, like this one I'm buying in Sonoma. The woman needs 60 days to stay. She needs a 60. She wants to get her money and then need time to stay in the home after closing.
Right.
So we'll do that. I don't need to be in the house.
Right.
And that way she can get her packing done and figure out where she's going to go and transition.
And then are you typically holding or are you flipping?
No, this is going to be a resale. These properties don't make sense as investment rentals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're kind of like Open Door.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
They just got
they're-
325 million.
Yeah, they're trying to buy properties. Zillow is rumored to be getting into
They're
the buy
doing that.
business as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So that's the other Amazon effect. They're trying to get into the business of buying property and giving people that option to cash out. So yeah, there's always competition. I mean,
Right.
there was a company here in San Rafael I thought was going to have a major impact called Renovation Realty.
Oh yeah, they were advertising.
They were advertising a lot on the radio, exactly. And I actually just talked to a couple of their project people. They didn't do well at all. Well, I don't know. Their program was, we'll buy your home and fix it for you and give you most of the upside. You don't put any money out, and then the goal is, we're going to fix it and we're going to you're going to give us the listing.
Yeah.
But you enjoy most of the upside from our improving your property. So it sounds like a great concept.
Sure.
Yeah.
They're based out of San Diego, where they've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
It just didn't go over well in the Bay Area.
Sellers basically said, I'm not willing to do
I
that.
don't have the money to repair things, but I know I could get 200 grand more for my house if I could only put 60,000 into work.
Yeah.
And so they'll come in.
No,
They'll do the work.
I'm just saying that, were the sellers here just saying, nah, I'll just do it myself? Or?
I think the main issue is the human resource element. Their crews, they were having trouble finding the crews and managing the crews and doing the work at a quality standard. And then it just started to unravel, and
It
they couldn't
seems
have
like-
enough lead flow to support. Because this guy, the actual broker was in San Rafael. And he had offices all over the Bay Area.
Who is that?
I don't understand. But, yeah.
I saw one home here in Nevada that was renovation realty, and it was on the market for a while. So I think that, because I'd hear them on the radio.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
thought, and I think this should have been moved by now
Right.
for these guys to make their money. Should I
I
go
think,
turn off?
I think you can cut us out now.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.